Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are around the world. Liverpool 3, Aston Villa 0. What a brilliant way to possibly end the weekend. I know it's an early kickoff, and obviously over in America, Race is getting up early, and so is Colin getting up early for this game. But what a way to start their Sunday, and what a way to be in the middle of our Sunday. What a win for Liverpool. Darwin Nunez came on the pitch, caused havoc, didn't get a goal, caused much problems, and created quite a lot of chances. Dominik Szoboszlai again, once again, proving that he is the man. He's the reason why we give him the number 8. Mo Salah still there and thereabouts, getting on the score sheet himself. What a win, boys! Give me our first reaction then, Colin, on that win.
Yeah, I thought we were super solid, like across the board. I didn't think there was really anybody that was like particularly kind of stuck out as being, not on it today. I thought it was came in with a great game plan. I thought everybody played like pretty much across the board, played really well with a couple of obviously outstanding performances. But yeah, and Villa were not on it today, which is even better because we certainly were.
Race. Would it be more of a Villa poor performance than a Liverpool good performance, or was it a mixture of both today?
Maybe a mixture of both. I would tend to lean towards a good performance for us. I think it was easily our best performance of the season so far. Of course, getting that clean sheet as well. You could just see with the way that Villa were playing. I mean, they're so playing out from the back and so wanting to be on the ball and whatnot, and playing that high line, and we just took advantage of that. It was just really good to see us play well for once. Of course, seeing Curtis Jones come to the side for the first time, and McAllister in the 6th, and Nunez getting a start finally, and him looking good as well. And so all around good performance here, good way to start the weekend and going into this first international break here.
Going into the international break with what night is it? I'm trying to think now. Where am I now? It's
10 points.
What is it? 11, 14 points, isn't it? No, is it? What am I thinking? 11,
I think.
10 points.
Let me see.
10 points out of 12.
10 points, yeah.
Yeah, 10 points out of 12. 3 wins and a draw, yeah. 10 points out of 12.
Would have absolutely taken that if you would have offered me it at the beginning of the season. 10 out of 12 is great.
I mean, looking back at the Chelsea game now, for me, I just think we should have won that.
We should have.
What Chelsea have been doing and what we've improved in against obviously the second half against Newcastle last week. We played very well, played okay today. If we played half as good as that against Chelsea, I think we'd have had all 3 points. And it's just a shame that we're not on 12. But again, a win is a win, and we're back on unbeaten. We've had a tough start. We've had Chelsea away, Newcastle away, Villa, and no easy side, by the way, because I know they looked a bit easier today, but Emery's sides are not easy to play against usually. And Bournemouth at home, they probably give us the best game we've had. Bournemouth at home, even though it's an easy win. Starting through the game then, boys. Race. Starting off, Dominik Szoboszlai. What a player. What a goal, what a finish. And do we expect more from him this season?
Absolutely. I mean, that strike was incredibly clean strike. I don't know that I necessarily expect, 15 to 20 goals, but like if he can contribute, 11 to 13 with like 8 assists, works for me. Like that's exactly, I think, what we need from a midfield that we really have been lacking. Just contributing rather than putting up zeros across the board.
Dave, have you got your TV on the background, mate?
Yeah. Let me I was watching a bit of cricket after the football. Give me like two shakes of a Lansdale, all right?
No worries, mate. No worries at all. Colin Szoboszlai, I don't want to say this, but is he the new Gerrard?
It's a very it's far too early to say that. We need the consistency over time. He certainly has the skill and the quality to do that. If over the course of time he can stay healthy, continue to be productive, that's his ceiling. I think certainly. It's far too early, I think, to say that he certainly is, but I think it's very apparent very quickly that he certainly can be, especially with his lack of like need for any sort of betting in time. I thought he's hit the ground absolutely flying.
Dave, now you just come in a late substitution for someone else. Making late substitutions the way Jurgen Klopp did last week with Nunez. Can you save us the way Nunez did last week?
Of course I can, mate. I'm on it.
What an opening goal, Dave. What an absolute storm of a finish. And Trent, I know it wasn't meant pass from Trent. It did go all the way through, but Trent back on the assist, and he was back to his best, wasn't he, today, Trent?
Trent, for me, was man of the match by a country mile. I mean, Mo Salah was up there as well. He was up there, had a really good game. But Trent's vision, Trent's ability to pass over the top and catch out defensive lines is, I've never seen anything like it in many, many years. It's absolutely outstanding. And I just love watching the guy play every single week. And Dominik Szoboszlai, the finish, wow. I mean, half volley coming out to him, not slowly, let's say that. And he just puts it on the right side. Really, really strong finish. He's very technically gifted, isn't he? Very technically gifted.
Szoboszlai, again, you talk about technical gifts, and you got to hit those sweet on the spot, and it's quite rare where people do hit it sweet on the spot. They're such difficult shots to hit first time, snapshots, but he's got a different foot, and he's got a different foot to everyone else. Once he hits it, it literally is like a traction engine. And Colin, do we play around Szoboszlai then in the future with the way he plays, and to get more shots off? Because we haven't seen really him shoot much in the last 2-3 games. I mean, there's been times where I'm like, shoot, because I knew he can shoot. Today has proven it that he's got the quality on him.
Yeah, it certainly did. The finish reminded me of that Thiago finish against Porto from two seasons ago. Just the way it was rising after the skip, the way it's rising the whole way. This is a great comment and a great point. I didn't know that his shooting with his left was that good as well. As Dave said, incredibly gifted technically, just like absolutely sublime in terms of the technical quality. And I think teams will probably start to, really put the pressure there. But I think that then opens up spots everywhere else. Like, I think, especially going forward, we are so dangerous that if teams start to, and I'm sure they will, start to break down film over this international break and really try to see how they're going to beat us this year, they're going to try to put a lot of pressure on him. And I just think that he's good enough to be able to kind of, with that pressure, facilitate other people and make that ball move either to the opposite side or to those around him while they're really focusing on him.
Szoboszlai's contender for man of the match is Trent. I think we're all agreed in their race. The second goal again came from him, lovely ball over the top. Nunez very unlucky not to bag himself, but we've got an own goal, Matty Cash. Again, Trent being the architect of it all. How influential was he in this game today?
Yeah, extremely. When he kind of made that pass, to set up the second goal, we've just been so accustomed to it that it didn't really register. Oh, that was such an amazing pass, from Trent, and you expect something to happen, and of course it goes down as an own goal, but unlucky for Nunez, hitting the post, and it counted as an own goal. But essentially, we can chalk that up as Nunez creating that goal. But of course, the great ball from Trent. Just really good to see Trent involved in it, because again, he is so key to what we do. When he's playing well, the team plays well, and certainly of course in the game today, not having Virgil and him really being having the captain's armband and leading on the field and whatnot, and just a really good performance from him. Did come off at the end with a bit of a knock there. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Again, we have a break coming up, so hopefully it's nothing too bad. But yeah, Trent certainly the man of the match for me. Just good to see him back and being confident again against a Villa team that certainly wanted to be on the front foot and wanted to get some goals and stuff. And again getting that clean sheet, I think might be overlooked in this performance. Especially without having Virgil and having Gomez and Matip back there. But I don't think we can overlook that as well.
It's a very good point that regarding the clean sheet, because we just want the 3 points, the 3 goals, and then the clean sheet. There's only Alisson Becker really that pushes that clean sheet in terms of the whole game. But he didn't have much to do, did he, Dave? Alisson Becker. I think it was quite a solid defensive performance. I don't think Villa really pushed us as much as they could. Who stood out apart from Trent? Who else stood out for you at the back then?
Well, I think I've been screaming this for the last couple of months on social media. Everybody panicking about this centre back purchase, that how much we need it, how much we're short in that position. And I just never bought into that. Matip and Gomez have been great squad players for the last 5, 6, 7 years. Yes, they've had their moments where there's a slip up, but I've seen that in Van Dijk and I've seen it in Konate as well. I think every time they've been asked to come in and do a job, they've done great. And I think you can look into it. If you look into it from a deeper point of view, in the times that they did suffer those two, I think it was the problem came from midfield rather than the defense. Not enough cover and not enough backing up. And this was at the end of the day, the blame always goes on the central defenders when there's a problem, and that shouldn't always be the case. But I thought both of them played really good, especially Gomez. I thought he was outstanding today, absolutely outstanding. And I think Alisson will be happy for the relatively quiet day.
I think Gomez suited the left centre-back role more than he did the right centre-back role. I just think he thinks too much of right centre-back role. He's accustomed to that right side role. He's accustomed to that right-back role at times as well. When he's a left centre-back, he knows he's got a job to do. He knows he's got Virgil's shoes to fill. So that pressure alone, I think gives him that little kick up the arse. I think it gives him, to say the least. As bad as it sounds, but it does. I'm trying to find it. Ernesto makes a good point here. They said the balance between Alexis and Curtis provide a crucial factor in midfield. They were doing all the dirty stuff personally and not complicating everything, which was key. Yes, exactly that. I mean, that's why it's so important to have a number 6 there, proper defensive midfielder, because you need someone to do the dirty work. You need someone to keep it simple. And it wasn't like the thing was with Curtis Jones. He wasn't doing this in pre-season. He was still roaming out of position. Today, he was more disciplined. Alexis McAllister. I think Alexis McAllister more forward than what Curtis Jones was today. He went on a couple of dribbles. But going forward into that role then today, Race, how pivotal again was those two as a combination? Because I don't think one of them would have worked alone. As a combination today, how good were they?
Yeah, they did the job. They were tidy and whatnot, and of course Villa, our side that wants to get on the front foot again and get some goals and whatnot. They're not going to come to Anfield, and they didn't today. Sitting back and absorbing pressure. So it was key for them to be involved and just get into the game and make things happen. Of course, it was interesting to see Curtis, getting his first start of the season, and obviously the way he ended last season. I think we're all hopeful to see, or at least intrigued by what he can offer in this team. Of course, we have more competition and whatnot. McAllister, of course, the transfer window's closed. And we've got, the midfielders come in, and I don't think, McAllister long-term is going to be in that 6 role, but again, it's good to see him still show that, he can put in a performance, in a pinch and, in a spot start, and that's, that position. So, all across, midfield was good today. Of course, Szoboszlai on the other side, getting that goal, of course. And I'll be intrigued to see what else they can do this season.
Like Quack said, he is new to this stream. Please subscribe then, Quack, if you are new to us. We are live every single night at 7:30. We're live after matches. We've got podcasts every single week, up to 2 or 3 coming up soon. So we do post quite a lot of content as much as we can. So we want to be the best and the most content around for Liverpool fans and football fans in general. If anyone wants to come over from Arsenal or Man United and know what a real channel looks like, then come over if you want to and talk about your team winning, which doesn't happen too often in United. Going on to the next goal then, Dave. It was a bit of a different goal. It was not really the usual Salah goal, but it's a proper purchase goal, wasn't it? It was a good cross. Nunez doing what he can. I think it might have been a shot by Nunez, but that's all you can do with that position. You flick it on, and someone could get a touch on it, which it exactly was. And Mo Salah being Mo Salah, Egyptian king, the best goal scorer we've seen since we're talking Rush days, was there, wasn't he? I mean, should he have taken his shirt off and said, "Look, I'm staying for another 3 years," a bit like Wolf of Wall Street?
You mean Mo staying for another 3 years? I don't see that happening, honestly. I think next year is going to be crunch because I think Liverpool will do one of two things. I think they will offer him a 1 or 2 year deal with possibly the same terms as he has now. I doubt they will go higher than that. Or for me, the most likely scenario is he will make his way to Saudi Arabia. I think if you look at him in that area of the world, within the religion as well, he is known as an absolute god. It's his neighbor country. I think he will definitely see himself finishing his career in Saudi Arabia. The question is it too early now, or will it be too early next season? I mean, he's like Cristiano Ronaldo. His fitness levels are just out of this world. I mean, you could see him going on to 37, 38 easily. So the question will come, will he want to do that move now? Will Liverpool be able to afford to keep him or give him enough years on the contract? And then, of course, will he still be hungry for European titles, Premier League, big trophies, which he won't obviously get if he was to move over to Saudi Arabia. So I think it's going to be an interesting summer next year. What I would like, though, from both the club and Mo is a very clear indication earlier on where this is heading in next summer. Is he going? If so, let's give him the proper send-off, get as much money as we can, and look for an alternative replacement that could, well, somehow fill his boots. Or will he be staying? Come out, an announcement early in the summer, I'm staying, I'm going, and that way, we can all move on and not have the same sort of debacles that we had in the transfer window this time around.
Colin, with a Salah situation,
mm-hmm.
I think there's a few days. I think it's like 5, 6 days left in the Saudi Arabian transfer window. So we can't strengthen now. If we were to lose him, how do Liverpool go about this? If Jurgen Klopp were to lose him this week,
mm-hmm.
say FSG just pull the trigger like they can because
mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest. And if Salah agreed, how would he go about this? Does he put someone else out wide that plays that opposition, or does he go with Dirk?
I don't think there is any scenario in which we can let him leave in the next week. I mean, it would take an offer like an upfront cash payment of seriously, I think like £300 million. That
$1 billion.
$1 billion. I mean, it's quite literally I think it would have to be somewhere between 250 and 300 million pounds upfront as a cash payment, and there would have to be reassurances from the owners that money will 100% of it will be reinvested into the squad. Mm-hmm. And we kind of touched on this a little bit yesterday on the stream with Richie, Kevin, and Neil. But I just don't think that there is there's nobody that can actually replace him.
No,
you can get a left-footed right winger. There's a few of them in the world that are quite good, but it just is not. I just don't see anybody with his sort of determination.
It's literally Mbappe, and that's it, really.
Yeah,
at that sort of level.
He is, and I mean, an underrated factor is his availability. You can't pay for that. Because you're not sure. You're never going to be sure. But there is no scenario outside of that sort of outrageous all upfront cash payment in which I could ever see that happening. I think, like Dave rightly said, I think next summer, and I think really astutely, I think you said, David, is it needs clarity and it needs to be upfront, and we cannot go the whole window kind of is he going to stay? Is he not? What are we going to do? Can we find get it done upfront?
Do you think there'd be a deal done then, say now, but for next season, if that makes sense?
Maybe. One of the points that was brought up was that part of the reason that maybe they want him is for the Club World Cup, which is in December, right? It was before the January.
Time, yeah.
So, will that affect the price that they might be willing to pay next year? And they will be willing to pay money next year. Let's not, be any two ways about it. They will be willing to pay money for him next year. He is too valuable to the Arab world. He is quite literally too valuable to that demographic. in order for them not to pay money for him. How much money that will be and whether or not Liverpool will be interested in taking that amount of money, that's a different discussion. But they will be back. If those rumors are true, and I think that's a fairly large question mark as well, is like, how real are these like cash offers? They will be back with money. Their money's not going anywhere.
They've got the money, and they'll always have the money. I think Saudis, they make so much money after. I've been seeing people saying Saudis are spoiling this, Saudis are spoiling that, but Premier League do this to smaller teams. Premier League clubs do this to small teams. It's always been this way. As long as they've got the right intentions of making one of the best leagues in the world, then I don't see any problem with it. Of course, they're going to pay. If they've got the money, they're going to pay for it. And we didn't complain when we sold Fabinho and Enson, because they've paid far for our transfers, by the way.
Right.
Because if we didn't sell Endo and Fabinho, I doubt we got Gravenberch. So, going back to the game, then, race 3-0 up, comfortable. I think it was a comfortable win, if I'm honest. I don't think Villa really got out of their comfort zone. Who stood out for you then? Was it between Szoboszlai and Trent? Did anyone else catch your eye?
I don't think I got a chance really to chime in on Szoboszlai, but I mean, he really was for me. I was just so excited to see him play. I mean, I'm going into every game now just thinking, man, what is this guy gonna do? Because I just think he has such a high potential, and you saw it right away. Game for me was at 7 a.m. and 10 minutes after waking up, Szoboszlai's hitting a goal in the back of the net. That was just such a great start to my morning. But when that ball came to him and he takes the shot, I just couldn't help but think, man, what if Henderson or Cates is on the end of this week? Where's that ball ending up? And I'm thinking it's probably going in like the 12th row or something. Like, it was just so refreshing.
Henderson, it would have gone back to Alisson if it was Henderson.
Yeah, exactly. It was just so refreshing to see a well-struck ball from one of our midfielders, take it first time, just go right into the back of the net. And that's just, that's what we've been missing, these past couple of years, a goal scoring threat from midfield. We shouldn't have to rely upon just our front three, to score the goals for us. Again, having that extra, goal scoring threat just, puts so much pressure on the defense. They got to think about, this ball's, it's fallen, they clear the corner, it bounces out. We got to get a man out in front. You got to get someone to the ball. And it's just another, thing that the defense has to keep track of. And yeah, it's just gonna, again, just seeing him, of course, being in that number 8 shirt just brings back all the memories of Gerrard, of course. And, it's hard to not think of Stevie G when he's hitting a ball like that first time. But yeah, Szoboszlai, I'm just so excited to see how he progresses in this team. He's just got such a massive potential.
Adam, I get that point, but I think we'll go with the flow. I think Mo coming up in conversation, it's got to be talked about. We can't just beat around the bush. And if it comes up in conversation, we'll talk about the game itself and as well as the Mo situation, because Mo scored today. He proved his worth, and we can't get rid of players like Mo because, like Colin said, how are you going to replace him? You replace him what Mbappe, you're not going to get him. Or someone, you have to develop again. Really, we should be bringing in someone in. Well, could have brought in someone this season and developed him under Salah, but that could be Dirk. Yet to see. Yes, talking about the game then, Dave. Szoboszlai is the standout for race. I think for me, this guy. I did the reaction to him signing him, and I've watched this guy for 3 or 4 years. I was gassed when he came. I was absolutely buzzing when he came through that door. It was a player I didn't think would even be interested in, though. Liverpool have been linked with so many midfielders over the last 4 or 5 seasons. He's never been mentioned once. So when he did come, what a surprise that was, and what a great surprise that was. Is he living up to expectations right now?
Oh, so far, absolutely. I mean, from pretty much moment one. I'm going to be honest with you. When the name, obviously this was a deal we did quick, and when the name started coming up, I was like, okay, I've heard of this guy, but I don't really know that much. So I started doing some research, looking in, checking over some games from the Bundesliga, and I saw, wow, this guy's got some real talent. So he's hit the ground running. The thing that strikes me the most about him, very similar to Stevie. Stevie had obviously all the attributes. He has them as well. But his engine to just keep on running, keep on disrupting, keep on trying to get forward, keep on threading through balls. gets down the wing to support. He's just all over the place. I mean, he's literally like two players. And, his delivery from corners and set pieces. I mean, he's just got everything. Now, the only issue he's going to have, or the challenge at least, is consistency. Will he be able, because that's what Stevie did. Game in, game out. He was there taking charge, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and driving the team forward. Now, obviously, Szoboszlai has a lot more leaders around him than Stevie did at the time. Stevie had to carry the whole team, basically. So there won't be that pressure on Szoboszlai, but it's going to, he's had 3 really good games. He's going to have at least 36 really good games. And then we can start talking about, and like, wow, this is a real player. This is someone that's going to take this team forward for the next 6-8 years. Let's enjoy this. So super, super player. Absolutely impressed with him. And I mean, to be honest, I've been impressed with all the players that have come in so far. I mean, McAllister at 6 today, I thought he was brilliant. You know what I mean? He's working triangles with the defense, his ability to find that little pocket and be able to move it into different areas of the pitch. His breakup play was pretty decent for someone who it's not really his natural game. I thought he was brilliant. And I'm still willing to give Endo a really good crack. I mean, the guy comes in. I think he's got a little bit to learn, but he knows what he's doing. I think he once he gets his feet to the speed of the Premier League and the intensity of the Premier League and understands the way we play, I think he'll be all right too. So I think we've got options, and this midfield rebuild, I'm honestly giving it a good 7.5 out of 10.
It's just that missing that one piece in it, that CDM. If we got that CDM, I think we'd have no complaints at all in terms of the midfield rebuild. Anyway, I still think 2 just for competition. I still want Kefren for competition, but Kefren too for competition. But I'm happy with the midfield at the moment, and obviously about the CDM. I've got a video coming on the way this week. I talk about the CDM being like Liverpool's biggest mistake in the transfer window, and it could cost the title. Which that's how big of a move it is. But I've always said, Colin, putting Gerrard into this team, we win the lot. Szoboszlai in this team, Colin, do we win the lot? Come on.
We've got the best chance we've had in 2 years, I think. Of kind of going a distance and continuing a level of performance that I think that hopefully has carried over in terms of like mentality from previous teams.
Yeah.
Now I think it is just coupled with a sort of technicality and a sort of like youthful exuberance mixed with like football, like real football
intelligence. Yeah.
To your point, to the point about a defensive midfielder, I thought McAllister was like really, really phenomenal today, and he is a very different kind of player than a 6 destroyer, someone who's just going to tackle everywhere and just. But his ability to find just little spaces and just manipulate them by popping into different spaces and playing these like just short but really, really intelligent balls. I thought he's so good. He's so flexible, and that sort of like technicality and intelligence just shines through. Every time he's on or near the ball. So.
Jamie said he was the glue in our lineup today. I think he was. I mean, it's a tough ask to come against, a decent side when you can't play 6. I think he's wasted there, if I'm honest. But do you think we got lucky today, Race, where Villa didn't really turn up to really test that sort of position out?
Well, again, I think we mentioned before it was kind of a mix of Liverpool having a good performance versus Villa. Not really showing up, having a bad performance. It was a mix of both. You could say that. I'll say again with McAllister, operating as a 6 again. It's not really his natural position, but you talk about a player having to sacrifice maybe a little bit. Wanting to move forward and push forward. Doing what he does best. But we're asking him just to stay back a little bit. Again, just kind of be a cover on the defense. So yeah, it's certainly good to see. McAllister being able to be so versatile for us again when a season where injuries happen. It's just part of football, and Where you're going to need players to sub in every now and again. So it was good to see him, play well and look the part. Villa, just the way they play, it's playing so aggressively from the back. Of course, it's a high risk, high reward type system, and they just couldn't get it done today. And I would just credit, us for controlling things in the midfield, and making sure that there weren't many opportunities. Of course, Villa had a couple, chances there, caught us out. I remember Robinson, made a poor play. I think it was on Bailey, and they had a decent chance or whatever. And but we were tidy in the back, and again, it was just good to see us have our best performance of the season so far. Getting a clean sheet and 3 points.
Race mentioned injuries there, Dave. The one bad thing that came out of today's game, if there was any bad things, was Trent taking a knock. And taking a knock, it could be an hamstring injury that was sort of seen so far. He was limping. Hamstring injury would put him out of the England game, certainly. Gareth Southgate will be a midfielder down, unfortunately for him. Unlucky for him. But he'd miss, one game, possibly tops. I think with an hamstring injury, be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. He looked okay, didn't he? Hobbling off. He didn't look in too much distress. Yeah. So I think he'll be okay. I'm not worried about Gareth Southgate's England at all. No. I've watched England a lot over the years and really been extremely excited. I mean, no offense to all the English people who may be listening in. But they never do it for me, They never do it for me. So he'll be a huge miss to England, and I think going forward he's going to be possibly one of the first names on the team sheet for England, because there's nobody who has that passing ability in the whole of the country. I mean, it's just he can really create a lot for that team if they've got Harry Kane up front, if they've got Sterling's obviously not involved, but they'll have Saka running down the wings. Trying to get in behind the lines, and they just need Trent. Obviously, Jude Bellingham can do the job as well. Super player. What a start he's had to Real Madrid. Shame we missed out on him, but it was, in my opinion, it was never really, truly realistic. The salaries involved, the agency fees involved, the transfer fee involved. Considering the rebuild that we needed, I don't think it was realistic. But how nice it would have been, right?
I can't watch Bellingham go out feeling sick every time. Actually, he is an absolute generational talent. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's just unbelievable. And the fact that Real Madrid fans have taken him to where they have just shows how good he would have been for us. And I still think, in terms of affording, I think we could afford him and more. But under this budget, we can't, if that makes sense. I think we can technically, but it's the budgeting, isn't it?
I honestly think that it was Bellingham's choice. I think we were in the race, but I think Bellingham chose Real Madrid. That's my gut feeling. I think the numbers were better. I think Real Madrid, as much as Liverpool is Liverpool, and for me, it's the absolute best club in the entire universe. Real Madrid is Real Madrid. We can't deny the power of that. And they still have that Galactico aura about them, and everybody who has a chance in the world would like to try and play for Real Madrid. So it's, I understand it. It's as a club, Liverpool, unfortunately, where we are at the moment, we are never going to get the top players. It's just not the way our structure is. It's not the way we spend. It's not the way, we don't have a team full of superstars. We have a team full of really great players who want to work hard for each other, and so on and so forth. So these really top talents, Mbappe, you can say as many names as you want, they're always going to pass us by. But what I love about what we do is we find these talents who are almost there, maybe one or two steps away from being really great, and Klopp gets his hands on them and he makes them great. And every single one of our transfer fees are between 35 and 70 million, and I think that's sensible.
Imagine Gavin Birch in the left eight. We are going to cook. See, that's what I have a problem with, because that means McAllister will have to drop back as well. Then they have to be rotational. I think Gavin Birch needs to be rotational for those sort of players, or rotational 6 and 8, because we don't want to put McAllister back there because it just gets the worst out of him. Your spot on Trevor, there has been an odd quietness to the anti-FSG fans. Fuck FSG. There's no fight to see it, mate. There's no fight to see it. Fuck FSG. FSG out. Still FSG out, by the way.
Dear me.
Opinions on this. FSG they've left Klopp short again, and he's going to perform miracles again. I trust Klopp in doing these miracles, but if he needs to play a fan at number 6, then fair enough. If he needs to bring a fan on for Virgil's replacement, then fair enough. That's what he has to do. Has the hamstring been confirmed? Well, I haven't seen it personally yet about it being confirmed, but that was the original put out there. Really, that was an hamstring injury. Damon, love the vintage. Yeah, I do love this top. This is one of my favorite tops. I had this as a kid as well. Obviously, I wanted to get it as an adult as well. As they say here in States, McAllister is a dude. Is that what they say, Colin?
It's not what I say, but he. I was watching a lot of college football started back full time yesterday. It was a full slate. Deion Sanders and Colorado got a big win, and Deion said at the end of the game, talking about one of the players, he is him, and McAllister is him, I think.
Mm-hmm. In fact, do you know what? Szoboszlai has done the exact same thing. I think I've given that Szoboszlai he's him thing.
He's him too.
Comes in. Endo quite hasn't got that yet. He can't get on the team now. So
Dave made this point. Dave made this point a little bit. My leash for him is like very long. Like I was thinking back to when Fabinho came in. His first maybe 5 games, I was like, oh, what have we done here? He looks hilariously slow. Like he can't get around anywhere. And I was deeply wrong about that thought. And like we're playing Europa League games against team like Endo would be one of the best players in any 3 of those teams. Like, and he'll get his minutes and he'll be fine.
It's just whether we'll be fine, mate. No,
we'll
be fine. When we come against Man City with Kevin De Bruyne running in, I think if Kevin De Bruyne is fit by the time we're Man City, might not be. I think Man City. I think we'll play Man City in the next couple of games. Actually, thinking about it after
Endo's not starting against City. No chance.
Well, I'm clipping that, my friend. I'm clipping
Do
that.
it. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Race. It was like I said here. Let's give some love to Matty Gomez. They were strong today, but obviously they'll have to play again against Wolves because Van Dijk's ban got extended to another game. Going to the Wolves game, then before we do leave, is it the same team for you? Nunez up front, Salah, Diaz, same midfield.
Yeah, I mean, of course, knock on wood, there's no surprise injuries or knocks over this break, but I think pretty similar with Wolves. And yeah, Gomez and Matip certainly looked sharp and comfortable today. And of course, Villa again had those few chances and were making runs, but by and large, they did a good job. But Matip had one bad pass that went out for a corner, and got to iron those things out. But yeah, certainly an encouraging sign again from players that we're going to need to rely upon this season at some point, and that's come now. Of course, Virgil with the red card, Konate picking up a knock. It'd be interesting to see because I think Konate, his injury, I think he's still going to be involved with France. So it's this window, so it's not going to be too big of an issue. So I guess there's a little bit of debate if Konate's fit, if he plays with France over the break. Do you bring him back in, and do you bring him in for Matip or Gomez? I guess that's maybe the question in defense. And of course, Trent, we got to assess if his, hamstring is something more serious or whatnot. But yeah, pretty much the similar, lineup. I think, Curtis Jones, maybe his spot, if you want to bring, McAllister, if you do want to, start Endo, because again, Endo, when he's played for us, he's really only, he played a full 90 with a full 11 men on the field. That's the thing. You just haven't had a shot. So you look at Wolves, they don't really have many, attacking threats in their team. So maybe that's a good opportunity for Endo to get his feet wet, in the Premier League against a lesser side. It is at Wolves. So, maybe that's something to consider, but, just to see McAllister, higher up the field. So I wouldn't put it past Klopp to, put Endo in that number 6 role to give him another run, because he threw him in there against Newcastle to start off. And that was just, again, with Virgil getting sent off, that was just, kind of threw our tactics out the window. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Endo come in as number 6 and put McAllister up, into his more natural position, and then kind of keeping it the same, around the midfield and attack as well.
We miss Virgil, we still win. We don't have a CDM, we still win. The wins are coming up. I know there's a lot of things that going off field, and I have a lot of grievances with what goes on off the field. But on the field right now, we're winning. We've got 3 points in the bag. We're on 11 points on 10 points out of 12. International break coming up, which really annoys me, by the way. International break after 4 games in the season, just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, as someone said, 0-0 Man United Arsenal here, and Arsenal are battering Man United from what I've seen here so far. Yeah, I'm expecting Arsenal to score anytime soon, as per for Man United. And yeah, I'm just glad to see the points wrapping up and Chelsea losing at the moment, and Lavia sat in the stands just licking his wounds at the moment. I mean, where could you have been? I mean, if we did buy Lavia, he would have been the star. He'd have been starter straight in, and the fans would have loved him. He'd have been in a winning team, a better manager. What have you done, Lavia? What have you done to yourself? I mean, I know it's a lot to do with the agent, and I think the agent's probably let him down there. But you can join us still in January, Lavia. That's all I'm telling you. We're still here in January. If you want to, we might get a cheaper price. We might find that we're doing
that's a bit of a stretch.
They might have been playing the long game all the time. They might have been playing 7D chess, FSG. They knew we were going to play, not going to get picked for Chelsea. Therefore, can get them cheaper in January. Always on the cheapest, John Henry. Thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you for Dave. Thank you for Ray. Thank Colin. 3-0.
Thank you guys.
Up the league we go. Man City, we're coming after you.